Hello and welcome here to Talking CB, and I am absolutely gutted, to say the least, about that result. I was going to say the performance then, but that's actually something that I'm not gutted out of at all. I think the performance today was certainly much improved. I think the second half performance was certainly something we can be positive about. But if we're just looking at the game in general today, there was a lot of build-up. El Clásico, absolutely massive game. And in terms of the circumstances as well, of course, we were going into the game 6 points behind Real Madrid in the La Liga table. And it was absolutely vital today that we didn't, first of all, lose the game. Of course, 9 points behind Real Madrid in the table would have been pretty much game over. 6 points is very, very difficult. But a win would have taken us within 3 points of Los Blancos, and that would have certainly been more than enough of a margin, to go in there and eventually take the La Liga crown once again. But unfortunately, today when the game is finished, it's a 1-1 draw, and we have come out of the game now once again 6 points behind Real Madrid. So we haven't really gone anywhere. We've not lost any ground in the title race. We haven't gained any. That's the point today. If you'd have said before the game, had we gone 1-0 down, would I have taken a 1-1 draw? Possibly. But it was just the way the game panned out, the way we went when we took the lead. We hung on to it. We were playing very, very well in that second half. And the killer thing for me and the killer thing for a lot of people is the fact that we created 2 terrific chances following that goal, and we failed to take them. We failed to capitalise, and we failed to take those chances and really put the game beyond Real Madrid. And in that instance then, that gave them the courage and the belief they could come back into it. We didn't finish it off. And then, of course, it's a real sucker punch when you concede that late on, when you think the game is over, when you think the game is won. And that was probably one of the problems for us. We switched off, we lost the concentration, and Sergio Ramos, of all the people, headed home, and Real Madrid's luck seems to continue. That's also the problem. The fact that for so many weeks and months now, Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid going back to the Champions League and the sort of draws they had, they seem to be getting this slice of luck. They seem to be scoring these late goals and just scraping through these matches, and somehow it keeps happening for them. And if you're a Real Madrid fan, of course you just take it, you go along with it, and you don't really say anything else about it. But of course, looking on today, it was so disappointing to lose those 3 points in the last seconds. There was no reply once Ramos had scored. It was too late to do anything. And it was really, really, really gutting to concede that late on. But like I say, the positive is that performance in the second half. The first half was pretty sketchy. I think Real Madrid had the better of the chances. They were probably more dangerous in the final third. We did have more possession though. We did have good control of the ball. We started the game quite confidently. Real Madrid picked up a few bookings. They were scrambling on the counter-attack at times. But it was the second half really that came alive in the game. There wasn't as many stoppages for fouls, and the game really, had a chance to breathe and take off. And in that second half then we really began to turn the screw. There was no changes at half-time. Iniesta remained on the bench. Luis Enrique felt that it would be best to bring Iniesta on throughout the second half instead of starting him. Of course, he's been out for 6 weeks, and it was a good decision that was in the end. But we managed to score actually before Iniesta came on the pitch, and it was absolutely brilliant, the goal. It was very, very similar, I think, to Jeremy Mathieu's goal in the Clásico in the treble-winning season, when it was whipped in from that left-hand side. This time it was Neymar, last time it was Messi with Mathieu's goal, but Neymar whipped it in, very, very good ball in. Suárez gets on the end of it, very, very close range header, and it's 1-0. And it was a really good goal, well taken, something a bit unusual for us. We don't usually score a lot from headers and certainly from set pieces, but a really, really nice goal. We didn't probably deserve it at that point in the game, but certainly then we went on to really, really impose ourselves and dominate the football match. Iniesta came on, and really, like I say, he was out for 6 weeks before this game, but you would never have noticed that. You really wouldn't have. He was absolutely fantastic in the way that he was receiving the ball. His combination play with Busquets was like, we'd never seen it before. It was like he'd never gone away, and it was really, really nice to see that control in that midfield and controlling the tempo of the game, and that's what we did. We slowed it down a little bit. We played the game at our own pace, and we dictated the play and created the chances. Busquets was fantastic throughout the game. I thought we really saw an emergence from him today in terms of his performance. Every time that the ball was there in Real Madrid's midfield, he was there closing them down, getting on top of them, making sure they didn't have time to move the ball, time to turn, and he really, really did well in that role today, anchoring the midfield and getting in Real Madrid's faces and pressing as high as he possibly could. He did really, really well. Andre Gomes was the man that was also elected to play in that midfield today instead of Luis Suárez. Rafinha wasn't in the squad, which is a little bit of a mystery at the moment. Andre Gomes didn't do bad. I think Luis Enrique put him in there simply because of his physicality. I think he's a tall guy. He's over 6 foot tall. He's strong. He's good on the ball. And today we saw those aspects. He was good in the air a few times. He won a few headers. He was getting back into the defensive area and heading balls away. So he was in there for that part of the team. He didn't really take a lot of risks. He played a safe pass a lot of the time, playing it back to Busquets or playing it across the midfield to Rakitic, who also started. I thought Rakitic had a poor game today, and that's a bit of a pattern for him at the moment. He doesn't seem to be playing particularly well. He doesn't seem full of confidence. Luis Enrique has taken him off quite a few times recently, and Rakitic certainly isn't playing the best football of his career at the moment, and hopefully he can get back to full form, because we have really missed his presence, because he's usually the player that's alongside Iniesta in the engine room in midfield, really doing well up and down that right hand side. He hasn't been doing that of late, and again today was one of those performances that wasn't quite on the level that we need from Ivan Rakitic. In terms of the front three, I'll come on to those later, because basically I want to talk about the chances that we created after we'd scored the goal. And we were in the ascendancy. We had the ball, we had the domination. Real Madrid could say nothing about it. They were not in the game. Ronaldo was anonymous for nearly the whole 90 minutes. And it was the two chances that fell, one to Neymar and one to Lionel Messi. And the Neymar one is particularly the one, for me, which is where the game is won and lost. I'm not blaming it all on Neymar, of course, but had he scored this goal, it's 2-0, it's game over. And it's a chance that came and went so quickly, but it was absolutely phenomenal. It started from the back. It started with Ter Stegen. He played the pass in the midfield to Sergio Busquets. And if you haven't seen this, go back and have a look at this. It's one pass from Sergio Busquets, which takes out Real Madrid's entire midfield. He's got his back to Real Madrid's midfield. He's got his back to play. He turns, and in that instance, he plays a one-touch pass straight to Roberto, takes out the midfield, and we're on the break. Then the ball goes into Iniesta, again, breaking at Real Madrid's defence now. They're exposed. The ball is then played to Neymar. He cuts inside Dani Carvajal, and he's one-on-one with Navas. All he's got to do here is keep his composure, get his knee over the ball, keep it low, hit the back of the net. He doesn't do that. He rushes it, he panics. He doesn't seem particularly confident in front of goal of late. He has been suffering a little bit. He hasn't scored a lot of goals recently. Neymar balloons it over the bar. It's a big chance missed, and it's a massive opportunity to go 2-0 up and really see the game out. He didn't take it. And then later on in the game is the chance for Lionel Messi. This again, Iniesta heavily involved, gets it in midfield, gets a little bit of space, and again, if you haven't seen this, go back and have a look. An absolutely sensational pass that bypasses Ramos and Varane. So powerful, so intricately played, straight into the path of Lionel Messi. Messi takes the touch out of his feet, gets it on his left foot, and then drills it across the goalkeeper, but it's wide and too far to the right hand post. Big chance again, not quite as easy as Neymar's. Messi was going away from goal. It was a more difficult finish, but again, Messi is Messi. You expect him hitting the target from there, and it's a chance missed and a chance to really kill off the game. That's where the game was won and lost. We'd got our lead, we were playing well, our midfield looked structured, our team looked full of energy, we looked full of confidence, the crowd was on, really with us. But we didn't take our chances. We didn't finish the game off when we really could have done, and we should have done. We didn't do it. And then ultimately, in the dying minutes, the dying seconds, we paid the price. We gave away a silly foul. And for me, I'm not really sure why Luis Enrique brings on Arda Turan for Andre Gomes. Luis Suárez came on late in the game for Neymar as well. But for me, I think Andre Gomes is a little bit hurt. So maybe bring on Luis Suárez straight away. Not really sure why you want to bring on Arda Turan in that central midfield position. I think he's much more suited to the front three. So a little bit of a mistake there from Luis Enrique possibly. But whether it contributed to the goal, you couldn't really say. But it just seemed a little bit negative. The sort of atmosphere when Arda Turan came on, because we know what happened in the last Clásico at the Camp Nou. Arda Turan comes on, we end up losing the game. Not, of course, all because of him, but it's just not the best move for me to bring him on at that stage. But for me, that's the only thing you can criticise Luis Enrique on. I think today, like I say, the first half wasn't great, but the second half, he got his tactics spot on, he got his substitutions spot on, apart from that one. Iniesta coming on at the perfect time, he influenced the game perfectly, he kept himself, he didn't over-push himself after his injury. It was really well played, and we did play very well in that second half. We deserved to win the game. That's why it's so disappointing and so gutting that we didn't win it, because we really deserved to do it. We gave away a silly foul, 89th minute, 90th minute. Ball comes in, you just hear the name Ramos and you think, here we go. Real Madrid's luck, Real Madrid's lucky streak under Zinedine Zidane continues. They get their 1-0 goal. Ter Stegen's got no chance. It's a great header from Sergio Ramos. Let's be fair, it's a great header, great header. But it's just gutting. At the end of the day, when all's said and done, we should have won the game today. We should have been now 3 points behind Real Madrid in the table. We should have given ourselves a much better chance of catching them. We didn't do that. We're still 6 points behind. But like I say, there is a lot of games to go. There's still 24 matches of this La Liga season to go. It feels like we're longer into the season than we actually are. The game today was just the 14th game of the season. It feels like we're sort of well over halfway when we're not even halfway there yet. So there's a lot of time. There's a lot of football still to be played. I still think that at some point Real Madrid are going to get exposed. They have to at some point. This luck must run out. I've been saying it for months and so have many people on Twitter, but it has to run out at some point. Surely to God, you have to sort of say, this is going to come to an end. But today it didn't happen for us. Luck was not on our side. It didn't happen. I thought performances in terms of, the defensive structure, Piqué was very, very good. Mascherano were good as well. Both as a partnership played very, very well. I thought Jordi Alba in particular from left back played really, really well. He got back on the goal side of Benzema at some point in the game towards the end and really did well to get back in there and defend. He did well as well to mark Lucas Vazquez completely out of the game, and he did well going forward as well today, Jordi Alba. The front three, none of them, I don't think, played at their best. I think Messi dropped deep at times, trying to get in the game a bit more, but wasn't really at the best he could be. Suarez, apart from his goal, didn't contribute an awful lot, but he's always got that work rate there, Luis Suarez. He did close down Ramos and Varane every single opportunity, and you can't fault him for that. Neymar, on the other hand, for me, a lot of people disagree. I've said it on Twitter just now. A lot of people disagree. There's a few people who do agree as well, though, that for me, Neymar hasn't been to the level he needs to be now for a good few months. You remember the spell that he had at the end of last season where he just didn't seem to be doing very well. He didn't seem to be having a lot of confidence. He looked tired, he looked lethargic. And for me, Neymar needs to be doing more. He shouldn't be given a free pass. He shouldn't be given that license to be in the team week in, week out, no matter how he plays. It's the same for any player in that team. Nobody's untouchable. He's suspended now for the game against Osasuna. He's suspended in the week for our Champions League game against Mönchengladbach. And I just said on Twitter, basically, that if somebody else comes in, whether it be Arda Turan or certainly Denis Suarez, if he can come in on the left-hand side and do something different, do something more than Neymar's given in the last few weeks, why shouldn't they get a chance to go and state their claim for it? Why shouldn't they stay in the team for a few weeks while Neymar possibly is on the sidelines? I don't think it'll happen, but I'm just saying Neymar, for me, needs to do more. He got the assist today, but let's be fair, it was just a set piece. Messi could have whipped that ball in. Anybody could have whipped that ball in, to be fair. But I'm not taking it away from him, just saying the assist doesn't give him everything. You can't really say, he got the assist, that gives him a great game. It wasn't like that at all. Neymar today wasn't at his best. He gave the ball away in some very, very key areas when it could have cost us. He doesn't chase back an awful lot. He didn't really work terrifically hard like Suarez did, like Messi did. Messi was getting involved in some challenges. I just want to see more from Neymar because we know what he can do. We know the quality he has, we know the potential that he has, but he's got to unlock that. Week in, week out, he has to give more and he has to do better. It's as simple as that. So let me know your thoughts, guys, today on the game. How do you feel it went? Are you coming out of it pleased with the performance? Obviously very, very disappointed with the result in the end and concede in the way that we did. But in terms of that second half performance with Iniesta back in the team, that does give me confidence. Hopefully now we can go on a run where we're consistent, where we can win successively, win. That's what we need to do. Go on a run of wins, go unbeaten. That's what we need to do now to really stake a challenge for this La Liga title and knock Real Madrid off that perch. They need to be shaken up. They need to close the gap. We need to get within touching distance of them. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Disappointing end to what looked to be a very, very good game and a good result for us. In the end, it's just a point. We stay 6 points behind Real Madrid, but 24 games to go. It's all to play for. We're still in this. We're still fighting. Iniesta is back. Things are looking up. See you very, very soon. But until then, as always, Vesca, El Barça.